Yo guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video on the channel. In this morning's video, we're going to be talking about Team of the Year price predictions. A few of you guys have been asking me recently, what I think these prices are going to end up being. So we're going to kind of go over them. We'll kind of try and compare last year's prices to this year's prices. Last year we saw a lot of Team of the Year cards open up very high. And as of time, as more and more supply got added in, we saw their price come down a significant amount. So we're going to try and take into account different prices. I'll tell you right now, on day one, Team of the Year is going to be very, very expensive. It is every year. It makes sense, very high demand, little supply. That's usually what happens. We'll kind of take a look. I'm going to predict like 13 players. I don't want to predict prices that, of players who aren't going to get in. But there's a good chance that we might see, 14 different guys with a chance to get in. So without further ado, we'll get into it. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you guys drop a thumbs up. So looking at last year's prices, a lot of these cards open up very high, like I said. Now, these prices don't really mean anything right now, but players like Mbappe, they opened up around 6-7 mil, I want to say. Really, really expensive, and I expect something very similar to kind of happen, with cards like that. Now, this year, the big meta is obviously, 5-star skills, and 5-star weak foot, but, weak foot is not as emphasized as it was last year. It's more of the 5-star skills. Now, for starters, I think Mbappe will open above 5 mil on both consoles. I think, again, he's going to be about 6 if he gets in. There's always a shout that he doesn't get in. So Team of the Year Mbappe, if he does get in this year, I think will end up being similar to like 5-6 mil. Looking at, I guess we can start with the attackers. Starting with someone like Lewandowski. Lewandowski's a little bit harder to kind of predict because last year we didn't get a card like that who didn't have a already meta card. Now Lewandowski, I'm predicting that he probably will end up getting some decent pace. With Lewandowski, his card is, his gold card isn't good. His other informs are very low, but I think this one could break around 90 pace. And realistically, we're looking at a card that will be similar to Ronaldo. I think this one will open up around 2.5 to 3 mil. And as he kind of goes down, I think he'll be ranged around 2 mil. He's not going to have that Prem tax, but being 99 overall, I think he still is deserving of it. So again, opening up around 2.5, 3.5 mil, and then I think he'll sit around 2.5 mil after Team of the Year is like done. Next up, obviously Messi. Now Messi last year, this is one I like to kind of look into because Messi last year was a lot more meta than he is this year. Now, Messi obviously has only 4-star, but last year Messi still opened up around 5-ish mil, 4-ish mil. I think this year he's going to start on the first day. I think he'll be about 4-ish mil, but I think he's going to end up dropping down. I think he's going to sit around between 3 and 4.5 mil. Maybe we see him open at 5, but I want to say he's probably going to end up sitting around that 4 mil mark. I just think the 4-star skills is kind of a letdown this year, and I don't know. It just seems 5-star skills is the way to go this year. And, I think he's going to get it. Now, we do have Ronaldo. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo last year, I think, the card is just as good as he was last year, if not even better this year. So I think he's going to probably find a very similar price. With the market this year, obviously, his card was interesting. He went up after Team of the Year. Not many people did that. On the first day, Ronaldo opened around, I want to say 7 mil. Yeah, 7 mil, it says right there. I think he's going to open up very similar again whether he gets in the 12th man or just the full team. I think he's going to open around probably over 6 or 7 mil. We're going to see another 99 overall card, 5-star skill moves with his size. I just think this card is going to be similar to like an R9. He's going to be, 7-8 mil to start off the day. Lowest I see him getting is going to be 6 mil. I don't think he goes any lower than that for a long, long time. So keep your eye on Cristiano Ronaldo's Team of the Year. This probably is going to end up being the best card this year so far. But, Lewandowski, he's coming as well. Finally, with Neymar. Neymar is one that interests me. Now, Neymar last year, and this year, he hasn't gotten any special cards. Personally, I don't think he's going to get in Team of the Year, but if he was to get it, that is a card that I think will open up around probably, 5-6 mil. With 5-star skills and 5-star weak foot, that's a huge card. Now we're going to move over to the midfielders now, and Kevin De Bruyne is the first one. Obviously, he was a card that got in last year. With De Bruyne, very similar. I think he's going to be very similar from last year to this year, just because 5-star weak foot, 4-star skills. There's not too much of a change. Now, looking at his card, he opened up at about 3 mil last year. I think he's going to open up at about the same. I want to say the midfielders will definitely be much cheaper than the attackers will be. I think he's going to open up at about 3.5 mil on the first day, and then I think he'll probably sink down to about 2.5, 3 mil as the promo progresses. And I think he'll sit very similar to what he did last year. The prices will pretty much be the same on both consoles as well. But still, I think that'll be a pretty decent, card right there for Kevin De Bruyne. Next up, we have Kimmich. Kimmich is one that interests me. I really think he's going to be rated closely to De Jong from last year. De Jong, which I thought was a really, really sick card. I'm going to compare them. I think they're going to be very similar. They have kind of similar sizing. I think Kimmich is probably going to be a little bit better. Just because of, I think Kimmich is a little bit smaller, and I like the size of his, his body type. De Jong was kind of lean, but, Kimmich is not like that. But De Jong, he opened up at about 2-ish mil, and then he sank down quickly to 1.5. I think the same thing's going to happen. The first day we'll have that hype. He'll open up at like 2.5 mil. I think he's going to be one that sinks down to like 1.5 mil, probably closer to 1.5-ish as we go on. You can kind of compare Kimmich to, say, some of those other cards like Vieira, but Vieira's kind of bigger. But just similar in price, I guess you can say. I don't see, a Kimmich being crazy expensive. He is in Bundesliga. He doesn't have as much hype in that league as, say, the French players and stuff like that. So I think this is a card that will open up much lower. I still think he's going to be probably one of the most insane midfielders in the game. But just because of those links, I think that kind of shoots his price down. Next up with Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes, he's one that has the potential to get in. We'll take a look at a guy who has kind of that, who's not going to be the 99, but he had the Premier League link. So that was Conte last year. And Conte opened up at about 3-ish mil. I want to say Bruno Fernandes, he's going to have that GGMU hype around him. I want to say he's going to open up at about 3.5 mil, and he'll probably settle around 2.5, 3 mil after, Team of the Year is actually out for a little bit. Again, he's going to open up pretty high. I wouldn't be surprised if that card hits 4 mil. There's so much hype around Bruno Fernandes. The headliner is still sitting at 1.8 mil, and the headliner is 1 overall. So, when you throw a Team of the Year that's going to be 96-ish or so, you're going to see some huge price, gaps in between. Bruno's also a sick card anyways, so I think a Team of the Year would be really, really cool. Thiago, if he is to get a Team of the Year, he'll be similar to Conte. I don't think Thiago's going to get in. I think it's really going to be those 3 that I just mentioned already. But Thiago does have the small chance of getting in. I think with Thiago, he'll open up very similar to Kimmich. He's got the Liverpool hype, but again, the pace on Thiago's normal card will kind of be limited in. He'll probably only have 80 pace, so you're looking at a card that'll probably be valued about 1.5 mil or so. Now moving on to the defenders. Defenders always interest me from last year, and they do this year too. Last year we had De Ligt. This one obviously didn't have as much hype, but this year we're probably going to see Sergio Ramos and Virgil van Dijk. Sergio Ramos I think will open over 1 mil. I think he'll start at about 1.5. You can compare him to kind of like icons, I guess. The icons, if you look at a card like, I don't know, if you look at a card like Maldini, I guess that's probably the closest card you can compare that Sergio Ramos card to. With the links as well, you're going to see, links to Varane, so you're going to see, kind of an increase of demand for a card like that. Plus Sergio Ramos, a lot of people are fan favorites of him and stuff like that, so I think he'll probably end up opening at about 2 mil. But other than that, I don't see him going much higher just because his size. Whereas Virgil van Dijk, he's a little bit different. Virgil van Dijk, obviously, I think he'll get into. I don't think he'll have a 99 card though. But Virgil van Dijk last year, the reason why his card came out so much better is because he had such the high pace that Sergio Ramos will have. But Van Dijk had it at a 6'4" frame with he had a very big custom frame. And last year Van Dijk opened up at 5 mil. I thought that was very expensive. Van Dijk this year I think will open up at about 3.5, maybe just 3. Again, I don't see him getting a 99 card. I think likely he'll get a 97 at most. I think, he's not as he wasn't as elite as he was in those previous seasons. I think he opens up at about 97 overall, and again he'll open up at about 3 mil, and then probably sit around 2.53ish for a while like he did last year. But again, we'll have to wait and see. But again, Virgil van Dijk, he won't be playing the rest of the season, so this will probably be one of the few special cards he does get. Now looking at the fullbacks, these ones always interest me as well. Last year the fullbacks opened up kind of lower than people expected, and this was just because of the demand. Honestly, obviously the first day they opened up very high. They opened up at about 1.8, 1.7, and then they instantly dropped down to about a mil. I think this is what's going to happen. I think they'll open up at about 1.5ish again, and then once supply comes in, they'll drop down to like 900k a mil. Both of them, Alphonso Davies and Trent, I think will be similar. Alphonso Davies will obviously have 99 pace, so I think he'll be a little bit more expensive than Trent, but I just don't see a huge price gap or huge price difference. It just wouldn't make sense. And honestly, I think those are the only defenders that win. If we see a Marquinhos, I don't think we will, but if we were, he'd probably open up at around Sergio Ramos' price. But again, there wouldn't be as much demand for him, so he might open up, a little bit lower. Finally, looking at the goalkeeper spot, I think we're going to see Neuer. Personally, just from the voting, a lot of it has, a lot of fans have been talking about Neuer as the team of their goalkeeper. I think he'll get it. Last year, Alisson did not open up very high. He opened up at about 750k, 800k. I think, the same thing will happen to Neuer, and I think he'll sit at about 400k. That's where a lot of the icon goalkeepers are at too. A lot of the icon goalkeepers are about 400 or 500k right now that are, the really good ones. I think we'll end up seeing the same thing for Neuer. He'll sit at about 500k. I do like Neuer's build a little bit better than Alisson. Alisson seems kind of smaller and compact, whereas Neuer seems much, much bigger. So I think he'll open up at about, 700, 800k, and then he'll probably fall to, around that 500-ish K range. And those are my price predictions. Let me know what you guys think some of these prices will open at. It'll be interesting to see. But, Team of the Year should be here within a week, so hopefully we get some really sick cards. Hopefully they don't have the most ridiculous prices, but who knows. With that being said, again, that'll wrap up the video. If you guys enjoyed, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and until next time, guys, peace.